Part 2. Early accounts of the law of attraction. The functional form of prayer has as many divergent points as there are religions. And these points range anywhere from requesting some divine blessing or boon to gaining some intimate knowledge and understanding of the nature and existence of God. Thus, religion and prayer are inseparable. Let us take a brief look at the major religions of the world and of their functional forms of prayer to see if there are any hints or signs of the law of attraction within them. Hinduism. The Rig Veda is the principal book of hymns of Hinduism and thought to have been written some 3,000 years ago, making the Veda the oldest religious text that is still used in the world today. The very first hymn of the Rig Veda is addressed to Agni, the Hindu deity of fire and acceptor of sacrifices. This Vedic hymn has its own law of attraction, saying, "Through Agni man obtaineth wealth, yes, plenty waxing day by day." It is interesting to note that ancient Hindu prayers and mantras also functioned as magical incantations extolling the virtues of the gods, who are considered to possess irresistible magical powers that can be used to solicit divine favors for the welfare of the person or the community. Buddhism. In an uncanny foreshadowing of the law of attraction, the ancient Buddhists also insisted that if you believe in something with enough intensity, you will become what you believe. We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. Buddha, the Dhammapada. These lines from the Dhammapada are a favorite confirmation point of the proponents of the law of attraction. However, one of the main tenets of Buddhism is to transcend the state of suffering. And to do that, it helps to transcend the mind by removing attachment to material things. Thus, for the Buddhists, prayer is used to remove the negativity within the mind and purify it through meditation, which eventually leads to awakening. Meditation is not used to acquire material possessions or abundance. Judaism. The Jewish rabbinical tradition claims that God longs for the prayer of the righteous. Judaism recognizes three different sorts of prayer: thanksgiving, praise, and requests. There is a belief in Judaism that God will take action in response to prayer, and the rabbinical tradition tells us that the more we ask God to help us, the more God will love us more. Christianity. Christians who buy into the law of attraction are fond to use this quote found in the Gospel of Mark regarding prayer. Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. The first epistle of John says, "Now this is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know he hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we have asked of him." First epistle of John, chapter 5, verse 14. Thus, for a prayer to be answered, it is God's will that must always be taken into account. But what is allowable for a Christian to pray for? The answers are often contradictory. The early doctor of the church, St. Augustine, claimed that one could pray for anything as long as it was legal. Thomas Aquinas said that praying was a waste of time, since God had already decided whose prayers he will answer, and no amount of prayer could ever change God's mind. Islam. The Quran places many conditions and rules regarding prayer. A Muslim must perform the Salat, the 5 obligatory prayers that must be done at specific times during the day while facing the holy city of Mecca. The Muslim engages in an elaborate regimen of ablution, bowing, kneeling, prostrating, and so on. The Muslim considers prayer as the most important factor in life after possessing a true and correct belief of God and His Prophet. The function of prayer in Islam is to strengthen the character and deepen the connection of the faithful and is an expression of religious reverence. Basically, Muslims have no reason to pray outside of the notion that God told them to do it and that it would be good for them. As we have seen, prayer is one of the earliest and most popular form of the law of attraction. Whether the prayer is a petition for good fortune or to curse one's enemies, or even as a way to justify human sacrifice to lift a drought, all prayer is the epitome of human self-interest, which is a key point of the law of attraction. And as for the believers, the will of the Heavenly Father always knows what is best for humanity. Next, Part 3. The Divine Mind.